So now we're going to look at two-point perspective, and we're going to draw a church using this method. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to find our eye line, and to do that we're going to do our old trick of just measuring roughly halfway down the page, which in this case is about 14.5. So on this side I'm measuring 14.5, a little line, going to the middle, measuring about halfway down, so 14.5. This isn't exactly halfway down, it's just a rough halfway, so 14.5. All I want is a measurement equal down the page each time, and because of that they'll be parallel with the top of the page. So I'm going to join these dots up now very lightly. Right, and the next thing to do is to add the vanishing points. So this is two-point perspective, so you have one vanishing point over in the corner there, another here on the edge of the page. So they're on that line, on the eye line, but on the edge of the page. So don't mistake it with the dot I've measured down there, or that one there. It's on the edge of the page. There are two vanishing points. Now we're going to do the front of the church. We're not going to go halfway, we're going to go about a third of the way into the page, and we're going to put the ruler down on 5. I want to keep this line vertically straight, so parallel with the edge of the page as best we can. And I'm going to put it about a third of the way into the page, and I'm going to put it on 5, and we're going to measure down from 0 to 10. So I'm putting that eye line on 5 centimeters, so when I draw a line down from 0 down to 10, it is sitting directly on that eye line. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very lightly join the edge up to a vanishing point there, and the top of the line to the vanishing point on the left hand side. We're going to do the same for the right hand side. Please press as light as you can here. These are guidelines, they're not actually the lines of the building yet, or not all of them are. They're just guidelines for us to see where our church is going to be. So like with the boxes, we've created the corner, and from this we're doing the sides coming down from the side, using the rules of two-point perspective to create that feeling, that illusion of a building going back into the distance that way. So I'm going to put my ruler upright on that line and use that as the guide, move it across. Now this is going to be the front of my church, so I'm going to move to about there, draw a line down. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side, but I'm going to move it a little bit further along, just a little bit, so the gap there is slightly bigger than that side. Not too much though. Just try to make sure that these lines are all straight. The next thing I wish you to do is to measure between that line and that line. You're going to do an estimate, and you're going to guess about halfway. And then you're going to move up about 4.5 centimeters. And just put a little dot up there. So you're guessing about the halfway mark, and then moving 4.5 centimeters up and putting a dot. And that dot is going to get the corner of the front of the church. So we're going to join the corners of the building up. One up to there, one up to there. Please press lightly, because if you look at it and it doesn't look right, you can correct it and move that line over a little bit. So this is going to be the front of our church, and I think you can start to see the idea of the front of our church here. But we now need to create the top of the roof, and it's going to go back to that vanishing point. So you might find when you put your ruler on the point there and you line up to the vanishing point, your ruler might not be quite long enough. Mine's not quite long enough. In that case, what you have to do is kind of an educated guess of where it lines up. So say mine was over here somewhere, my ruler isn't quite long enough. We just try to line it up as best I can so that hit the vanishing point. Okay, and when you've done that, you've got it lined up, press very lightly and draw a line. Come back to the vanishing point. Top tip here, you don't actually have to go all the way back. It's going to end about there, but just do it a little way back so you know that you've lined it to the vanishing point. We're starting to see a basic shape of a house here, and it's looking quite nice, but we're not finished. This is the front of the church, and we're going to put a spire on the church. So again, you're going to do a little guesstimation about down to about there, and I'm going to do a line about, let's see, I'm going to do it about, again, 3.5 centimetres going up. So draw a line going up 3.5 centimetres. And then again, like we did with this time, we're going to join the top and the bottom to the vanish point. So we're going to go to this vanish point on the left hand side. I line it up, but I don't have to go too far. I just want to go about equal distance to where that is on that side. And then the top and the bottom there, I'm going to line up to the vanish point, the bottom. I don't have to go too far. And the same with the top. I don't want to go too far. Just line it up so I make sure that dot, that point there, is going to this vanish point there. I'm just going to draw a light line down like that. I don't draw the lines all the way back, so I'm only going to need a small amount. That small amount, just draw across, like that, and a straight line up parallel with that line. And the same there, about where that's coming out there, gauge it, and a straight line up. And that becomes sort of the bell tower of our church. Front there, you can sort of see it a little bit clearer. There. Okay. Obviously we'll get rid of these lines in a moment because they're not needed. Now we're going to do the point on the spire. At this point we need to kind of look, do we need to go either that side or that side? I think we need to go that side there. I'm going to put it sort of just in between that point and that point. And I'm going to put a dot up there where I want it to be, and then I'm going to join each of the corners. So in between that one and that one, I'm going to look to put a point in, and then I'm going to join that very lightly, because if it doesn't look right I can change it. Corner there to the vanish to the point of the spire, and that one out. So if it doesn't look right, you think, oh, it needs to be over, you might want to put it there instead, just past this one, so you get the point going out. But I'm happy enough with that. Okay, so this is the front of our church now, and I think what we're going to do now, we're going to add a door to this church. So to do that, I'm going to draw a line up past this line, but not as far as that one. And again, we're going to join it very lightly to the vanishing point. I've drawn a line up. Okay, I've gone about 6.5 centimetres there. I wouldn't go any higher than 7. And then I'm going to very lightly join that there. But I'm not going to go all the way down to the vanishing point. I'm just going to go across, because this is going to be the door. And I want the gap that's on that side to be the same on that one. But remember, the gap there will be slightly bigger looking than it is on that side, because it's getting smaller as it goes further away. Okay, so line down. This line needs to be very light because it's actually not the top of the door. The top of the door, we're going to guess for the halfway mark. We're going to go up a little bit, put a dot, and then we're going to use drawing scale. So about halfway between that line and that line, we're going to head up, put a dot, and we're going to use our drawing skills to draw an arch. So just a curved line, going from there to that dot. A curved line, going from there to there. And it looks like a nice arched church door now. Later we can add even more detail to that, but for now I'm happy. Another thing we're going to do is put a clock face here, or it could be a stained glass window, but it's going to be in a circular action. Now you might think, well, we could just draw around a penny or something, but that's no good because the building's on its side and it's gone off at an angle, this will become eclipse. If the church was straight on to us, it would be, the clock face would be a circle, but because it's not, it's slightly turned that way, it turns more of an eclipse shape. Now we're going to do quite a complicated way of doing that. And put my ruler there into the middle and then just move over a tiny bit. And I'm going to do a line and there. It doesn't have to be much more than 1.5 centimetres. You could drop it down a little bit further. I'm just going to, because I've drawn it light down, and drop it down a tiny bit further, 1.5 centimetres. Press as light as you can here. Okay, and then I'm going to join it to the vanishing point. And just do a faint line going across. Join it to the vanishing point and do a faint line going across. And then we need then to do a line down, straight down there. So try and keep it equal. If you can see the gap there, try and keep the gaps sort of equal there. And we've got this rectangle. Now I said I wanted to do a sphere, and I've drawn this sort of rectangular box. Bear in mind, when you do it, I want it to be much lighter. But what we're going to do is we're going to guess the halfway mark there, guess the halfway mark there, guess the halfway mark there, guess it there. And then how we're going to make it is we're going to do a curved line, go from there to there, from there to there, from there to there, and from there to there. And we have our eclipse shape. Okay, and that is how we do the clock face on our church. Now bear in mind, we want those lines to be a lot lighter. I'm doing that so it will show up more on camera. Stage 2 is going to be the back of the church now. So what we're going to do is from the vanishing point there, we're going to line it up with the side of the church there, with the top of that line. Now you might think draw a line all the way through, but all I need you to do is line it up. That part of the ruler on that dot, and the ruler on this line there, and then draw a line out from it. Okay, and the same there with the bottom line, line it up to the vanishing point, with the ruler on the bottom of that line, line out. These lines are coming out from the vanishing point. See now with the ruler? So it's the opposite of everything we've done so far. So we're going to go back and use that first line we did to get our straight edge, and then we're going to take that straight edge, slide it over, and draw a line out. Try and keep that parallel with that line there, parallel with that line there. This is the side of our church coming out, and then we're going to draw the rest of the building going back that way. So this plane is on the same plane as the front of the church. And now we're going to add another plane which is going backwards that way, going down here. And to do that, we join the top of that, the bottom of that line, the vanishing point. We line it up. We don't have to draw it far though, guys. We just draw a bit of a line like that, just the side of it, and do the same with the top. Join that to the vanishing point. Okay, and when we're happy with the distance, okay, so that's good to the vanishing point. That goes to the vanishing point there, and that goes to the vanishing point there. It's the top of the bottom of that line. And then what you're going to do is move the ruler across as far as you need it to be. Draw a line out. And you can sort of see that it looks like a square extension just coming out the side of the church there. To make it look a bit more interesting, what we can do is the same things we did on the side. Halfway between there and there, find the halfway point, and move up. So I'm going to measure up. I'm going to measure up about 2.5 centimeters. Actually, I'll go 3 centimeters up. 3 centimeters up like that, put a dot, and then I'm just going to draw a line from that corner and from that corner going towards the dot. So you can see, like this one, we're creating again the image of the front of the church, but this is a side entrance. You can see the space here is the roof of the church. Well, I want the roof of this church to go back. What we can do from the top there, I'm going to go to the vanishing point on the other side. We've gone back towards this way again, and we draw a line from the top of that triangle to where the roof starts there. Okay, so from the top of that triangle, line it up with the vanishing point on the left hand side, and I draw a line down till it gets to the roof space there. And then the last little trick for this church bit is to then, on the roof, is to just join those lines up. You might find yours look really off, or yours might find a little bit better than mine here. Okay, but it's all to do with the sizes you chose the church roof to be. Okay, so that's a nice little effect here. I think what we can add is another stained glass window to the side of this church here. I'm going to put the ruler down here. I'm going to pick a size. I'm going to go for about 4 centimeters. And again, line it up with the vanishing point on the right hand side. Faint line across. Line the top up to the vanishing point. And the gap there again needs to be about the same there, but it'll look slightly smaller because things get smaller as they go further away. We've got a square window, not looking all that church-like, so again, halfway between those lines, put a dot, I put it into that section there, and then very faintly, until you got it right, do a curve, going in there, and there until you feel comfortable with it. I think that works quite well. And that's our church basic drawings there. Our next stage then is to add a wall around the church. Now this is a bit more complicated. So first of all, I'm going to draw a line in, and I'm going to draw a line 6 centimeters high, and I'm going to join the bottom of it to the vanishing point on that side, like we've done so many times, the bottom of it to the vanishing point on the left hand side, and the same on the other side, just joining the dots. So exactly the process that we've done all the way through this, drawing a straight line up and then joining it to the vanishing point. Now this is going to be the wall going around the church. Now this wall is in front, the front area of the church, and this is the side, but I want the illusion that it's going around the back of the church here, the back of the church there, and to do that we need to create another wall run along that way, and this wall run along backwards. This is a bit trickier. Okay, so what we're going to do is, with our ruler, first of all, we're going to line up. I need the wall to come out about here, so I'm going to line my ruler up with the vanishing point, and we're going to move it so that it comes out there. Now it's only just coming out there on mine, and you might find that it might only come that far across. For that you've got to do a guesstimate again. So I'm going to pretend my ruler's not long enough, so I'm going to put it on the vanishing point, and I'm going to then move it and try and guess where my root line's going to come out there. So I'm going to guess there. I'm going to put a faint guideline in. See it there? All I'm going to do then is move my ruler across, line it up with that faint guideline, and actually I've done a really good job of lining it. So that faint line there means I can then draw out of there, and I know it's coming out. So I'm lining up with that faint guideline there, which I know lines up there. So in other words, lining up to there, I know that it's going to come out to this angle. So anyway, I'm going to draw the line out, and when it gets to the first wall, outline of the wall, I'm going to stop, but I'm going to put a dot on the second line of the wall. So I've drawn my line out to the top of this wall, I've put a dot. You can see they line up, guys? I've drawn my line from the church to the top of the wall, and then a dot on the second line of the wall. The reason for that is because that line is going to go behind the wall. We're going to do the side of the wall there, straight up, line up the side of the paper, straight vertical line up, and then that line we're going to try and join to the vanishing point on the opposite side, on the left hand side. And to do this, guys, just try your best, just get as accurate as you can, try and guess where that's going to go to, and then draw the line back. Okay, so if I draw that in a bit heavier, you'll get the illusion of what's going on there. Okay, and you can see there's an illusion of this wall running along there, and then that wall running in front of it, back that way. Let's do the opposite side. Again, tricky because our ruler's not going to be quite long enough, so I want a wall to come out roughly around there. That's what I'm aiming for. So I get my ruler, and I try my best to line it up with that mark. So if I do that, I'm hoping it comes out about there. I'm going to do a faint guideline, so faint because I need to rub it out later. Then line my ruler on that guideline, and that's pretty perfect, just above where I want it to be, but I'm happy with that. So from the church, line out to the first wall there, but then make sure it's lined up, and then do a dot on the second wall, exactly like you did on that side. And from that, of course, straight line up, so parallel up with the edge of the page, make sure it's nice and straight, straight line up. Okay, and when you got the straight line up, again, that top there we're going to try and line up with the vanishing point. The ruler won't reach, so it's a guesstimation. Line from the church to that wall there. And you can see we have a make-believe wall that's running front of the church, the side of the church, behind the church, and the back side of the church there. You can imagine if that was real, they'd be meeting about there. Okay. That's a really good start, it looks great, but I want to go further. I want to put a path coming from the church out to this wall, and in order to do that I'm going to have to knock part of the wall down. So this is quite complicated again. I want to aim my path to be about there and there. This is a rough aim, it's not going to come perfect. So I've got my ruler on the vanishing point on the right hand side and line up. Oh, I'm lucky here, my ruler does actually match up with it. So I can kind of give myself a guideline there, move it across, line it up with that guideline so my ruler rests on it, and what I'm going to do then is draw a line to the first bit of wall and do a dot on the second bit of the wall. Where that dot is, like I did there, we're going to do a straight line up. And that is one side of the wall. I want to try and line up to this one now, so I'm going to go back to the vanishing point on the right, line it up. Now my ruler's not quite long enough this time, so I've got to do a little guesstimate, and I'm hoping that if that carried on there, it would run into that line. So I'm going to give myself another little guide, move the ruler across, line it up with that guide. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be really careful. I go from the church out to that first bit of wall, and I need to go to now this next one. But what I'm going to do is, where you can see it's stopped by this wall, I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going to draw the line through that wall there. Okay, so you can see that line there. I've left it because there's a wall here, and it's going to block our view of this path. It's quite a hard thing to get your head around, but you can see I've lined it up, going from the church, and if I hit that wall, I'm going to leave it, but I'm going to carry on at the other side to the bottom part there. And then I'm going to do exactly what I've done every other time then. I'm going to draw a straight line up. So make sure it's parallel with that one and that one. I'm going to draw a straight line up like that. And that becomes our outside wall. You can see this little bit here. It's great. You can just move that across to there. That now is the back wall, which is running parallel with this front side wall here. And this gap there is where we walk up the road. We go along. Imagine this is a little gravel path here. Going up to the church. Don't you put the gravel on yet, this is just to give you an idea of where it is. So that's a brick wall there, a stone wall sort of thing, and down there. And that's the gravel path going up to it. Okay, just looking at that angle looks a little bit off, let's just double check it. It's not too patchy. Okay, so that actually is our church and our wall finished. That's the most difficult part of this picture. What we're going to do in the background now is just create the illusion of streets in the distance. To do that, nice and simple, I just want you to draw a rectangle here, very lightly. Okay, and on one side there, join the tops and the bottoms with a vanishing point, very lightly. Draw a triangle on top of it. That, and then join the top of the triangle to the vanishing point. And then it comes across looking, do little lines like that. You can see it's like a row of terrace houses, like we did in Unit, one point perspective. And that one you've got the triangle, just move it across, do it for each of those houses. Don't do too many of them, maybe 3 or 4. That is enough, and we'll do the same on the other side. So if you struggle with that, guys, just the same thing here. Just draw a box shape, like 1.5 centimeters, doesn't have to be very big. Okay, very lightly. Do a little triangle on top if you want at this point, and then join each of the corners with a vanishing point. Like that. And then we can separate church houses, so one big one, slightly smaller one, slightly smaller one, slightly smaller one. And the angle of the roof that divides the houses and creates the last house. Like that. And then to the road, terrace houses go that way, and the road go that way. That's pretty good depth there now, because we've got a wall in the front, in the foreground, we've got the church in the midground, and these in the background. We're going to create even more depth in the background. This is a nice easy one. We're just going to do a row of terrace houses behind those ones. So 1 line, 2 line, that's going to be for the front of the house. A small line there is for the roof. And all we have to do is do straight lines down. We've got a row of houses. Now how do you make them look like houses? Just a little rectangle. And do that up below. A little chimney on top. And do the same on each of the little houses. Okay. Nice and simple. And we'll do the same thing here as well, for a little row of terrace houses. So 1 line, 2 line, a smaller one, 3, and you've got the row of terrace houses just going in the background. Try and make sure the lines are straight, and not a bit wonky there, so it's just quick. Okay, so those lines there just need to go a little bit straighter. Okay, but it looks got a nice row of terrace houses. We're going to create even more depth than that there, because we're going to put some buildings in the background. Now they can be your choice, you can do skyscrapers, like a cityscape in the background. You could do it as funfair. You could do it as the London, landscape or Swansea landscape. You could do stadiums in the background. You could do a fair in the background. It's up to you. Basically, just want nice, simple buildings in the background to kind of show a little bit more depth, to show that they're so I've got a little skyscraper there. I'm going to draw maybe a kind of a factory there next to it. So maybe an old factory style building here. Don't look how hard that just off that one, but okay, you get the idea that with lots of windows on it, maybe for instance. And similar things here. I might go for kind of a London Eye effect, a big sort of big wheel. Get something to draw around here if you want to. You could kind of, a Mumbles Eye, a big wheel in Mumbles. Okay. So drawing. You fancy it there like that. Okay. And again, I could do a big tall factory building like in Talbot. We got flames coming off there. Buildings going off. So just keep it, fairly simple. Buildings in the background. So we've got, foreground, midground, background there, and another laid background. Now, the last bit of laid background we're going to do is the hills. And don't have them too high because I want us to do plenty of cool skies, but we're going to try to do 3 hills. So we'll do one like this, and down, like that, so we can see it. And then that's going to be the hill nearest us. And there's going to be one hill there, and down. Okay, give it distance that, and then just one last hill. We're going out and we go behind there like that. And what this creates the idea is this hill's in front because we can see it in front of that one, and this hill is in front of that one because we can see it going in front of that hill there. Okay, for now I'm completely happy with this. We can add detail to it, so we could, create a stained glass window here, maybe do a cross in the window, in the stained glass window here. Try and follow the lines back on it, so we're better going to the vanishing point. Across there, like radiating holy light coming out of it like that. Okay, and you might then make this into a clock. You might want to put a weather vane on top there for north and south. Okay. And you might want to put a tree or a bush in the garden. So if you want to do a tree, there's a nice couple of tips. You could do one which is like a normal tree. It comes up, you have branches coming off like that. Just keep it nice and simple. And then that, and you can create tree effect. And at the bottom, have sort of little V's like that. So it looks like it's planted into the ground. You could have a Christmas tree. So I'll put one just here, which nice and easy. Just draw a diagonal line down, like that. Curve it at the bottom, maybe a little stem coming out, and then just fur it off like that. And you can make that into a Christmas tree with baubles, etc. coming off it when we paint it. Gravestones are interesting. We can put, because this is a churchyard, kind of do an N shape like that, curved, and then little line, and the curved line following down. So you've kind of draw an N like that, little line, and a curve going down like that. It looks nice and 3D. Okay, make sure that if that's a line there, it goes back in a similar direction to the ones in the background. Okay. Okay, so there's lots of details that we can add inside the church. You can also put details on the door. You can split the door up like this. Little handles on the door, little ring pull handles. You could have the archway windows there, split that up into sections like a triangle. Stained glass window details in them. Okay, so you can add lots to this building, lots in the background there. You could add pathways going down. Have them sort of cutting across. Okay, and the same there. Okay, so you can sort of see the sorts of details we got going on there. Now don't worry about putting stuff in the sky, because we are going to paint this, and we're going to give you an option of 3 different painting styles. The hills are going to be painted in different colours depending on what sky you've got there, and of course we can decorate the church more with things, and we can have people walking around. But for the moment we're going to leave this 2-point perspective picture, and we'll add more to it later.